lesson, let's learn about the concept of light source area. The light source size is related to the size of the subject and the frame. We can further classify it into broad light and narrow light. Broad light refers to light with a wide light beam angle or a broad illumination range. It can be hard light or soft light, and it can also be strong or weak light. On the other hand, narrow light has a smaller lighting area. When used as the main light source, narrow light creates strong contrast between light and shadow, emphasizing and highlighting specific areas. Narrow light can be used at more than one position within the frame to create lighting effects of specific areas. Now let's analyze the visual effects of broad light and narrow light by showing how the lighting setup influences the image. The setup I have prepared in advance provides a broad lighting effect. I used 2 softboxes to illuminate the entire product area from both the left and right sides. To ensure a wide lighting, I added a background light in the distance to cover the background area. This way, from front to back and from left to right, the scene is evenly illuminated with a broad light. Let's take a shot to see the result. From the image, we can feel that the entire frame is very bright. This kind of lighting effect belongs to broad lighting, and it effectively illuminates the entire scene. Let's create a narrow lighting effect now. I have a very small honeycomb grid in my hand, and I will place it in front of the standard reflector to reduce the area of our light source and create a narrow lighting effect. Now I will concentrate the light mainly on the left side of the bottle. As you can see, the narrow light has already formed a local lighting effect in a specific area of the image, highlighting certain parts of the subject. Let's add another narrow light to the setup. Now I'm going to add another narrow light and directing it towards the paper packaging product. However, the lighting area of the snoot is a bit wider than expected. To make it narrower, we can use a small prop, like this black cardboard. Let's roll it into a funnel shape and place it in front of the accessory. This will make the light even narrower. Now I will focus the light mainly on the brand logo of the product. Let's take another shot to see the difference in the effects of 2 narrow lights. As you can see, we have 2 narrow lights in the frame. One illuminates the left several products, while the other one focuses on a specific area on the right side. Based on the picture, we can see the characteristic of narrow light. That is to say, it can emphasize specific areas in the composition. In this case, let's add another narrow light to the background and observe the changes. Now, since I add another narrow light to the background, there is a total of 3 light sources in the frame. 1 narrow light on the left side, another narrow light on the right side, and a third narrow light for the background. Then we can add a blue tone to the background narrow light to see the overall effect. As you can see, the overall tone of the image changes significantly. This is the visual effect created by the combination of 3 narrow lights in a single composition. There is another special narrow lighting effect achieved by using a flashlight with colored paper. Let's take a look at its effects. With a flashlight and colored paper, in a dark environment, we can do the light painting. When using light painting to create narrow lighting, we need to synchronize it with our speed. Usually our shutter speed is around a 125th seconds for regular photography. But for this light painting effect, we need to lower the speed to 1 to 2 seconds to achieve the desired result. Since we are in a well-lit recording environment, I will temporarily turn off all the lights to see the narrow lighting effect of light painting. Let's take a shot to see the effects. Now let's compare the effects of narrow lighting with that of wide lighting. We can clearly see that narrow light makes the image more mysterious because it focuses the light in specific areas. Additionally, with the light painting technique, the image becomes more dazzling and enigmatic On the other hand, the wide light brings brightness to the image. This is the difference between the two types of light. When we choose different scripts for reference during shooting, we can follow those steps. First, analyze the contrast of the composition. Second, select the appropriate aperture to determine the light intensity. Then choose the appropriate lighting accessories based on the contrast of light, the desired softness or hardness, and shadows. Finally, we can select the appropriate light source area to achieve the desired photographic effects.